Hey friends, so welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I've wanted to do this for a long time, so finally I'm doing it, and as you probably know, it's a relief. So today I wanted to talk about what is adrenal fatigue. This is something I've been dealing with pretty severely for the past year, and I've been dealing with it probably on a low level since I was about age 9. Maybe that sounds like a really long time, but I don't think it's uncommon for young girls to start dealing with some pretty severe autoimmune and health conditions around age 9, because that's the age when puberty really kicks in or it begins to kick in. Yeah, it's beginning around age 9 for most girls. And if your body's not in an ideal nourished state, which mine certainly wasn't, and if you're dealing with a lot of stress, which I was, your body just doesn't have really what it needs to fulfill all those biological requirements. So you can start feeling tired all the time. And that's what happened to me when I was 9. And by the time I was 14, it was really bad. And then I just kind of lived with that for years. Not even really, in a way, not even knowing that that was a problem, because I never really knew anything different. I could remember what it felt like to be a young child and have energy, but that was just so far behind me at that point that I just didn't even, I just lived with it. And then I started to get a lot better when I improved my diet and moved into an ancestral foods diet around age 27. And things were going fairly well for me. And I mean, I do have a really amazing life. I have a great life. So I hope it doesn't sound like I'm saying like, oh, my life sucks because I don't have any energy. And it's not like I don't have any energy. I mean, I probably have 10 to 20% of normal energy. And you know what? If you're smart, you can do a lot with 10 to 20% energy. Anyways, I've kind of gotten into my story here, but why don't I go back and get into a little bit of a generality of what adrenal fatigue actually is. So your adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys. And in Chinese medicine, we don't separate those two organs. If you've harvested or butchered an animal, you'll know the adrenal glands and the kidneys are enclosed in the same capsule of fascia, and we don't really separate the two. So your adrenals and your kidneys are down there in your lower back, and then up in your brain you have your pituitary gland, and then connecting the two is your spinal cord. So there's a whole energy transformation and energy flow that needs to happen from your lower body, reproductive system, sex hormones, water metabolism, all that stuff that has to do with your kidneys and your adrenals, and your brain, which is thinking, stress, kind of doing all the things we do. And then your spinal cord is connecting the two. So all of this is very much related to the nervous system and how we respond to stress. And that can be a real challenge, because one of the really, I'd say, what's the word? There's a word that's like opposite, or it's a really great word, but it's funny because we, living in modern Western society, we have so many wonderful opportunities and like material blessings. Here I am sitting in, like a really nice 2,000 square foot home with running water, things that our ancestors and many people in the world cannot even dream of. So we have this really, paradoxical, that's the word I was looking for. Paradoxically, we have a lot of privileges in modern Western society, but somehow along with that, we have a huge amount of mental stress. And one of my Chinese medicine idols, Dr. Jongkab Kim, who practices in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada, he recently told me that 90% of Western medical problems that people he sees in clinic, 90% are mental caused. So basically, just having this like constant stress mindset actually winds up damaging your internal organs, because there's, the body is not a perpetual motion machine. There's there's a circuit of energy that needs to happen. And if you're draining energy, thinking and stressing out up here, it's going to damage your internal organs. And in my case, so really that's what adrenal fatigue is. It's a case where mental stress has actually damaged your kidney and adrenal organ function. So one of the most common symptoms that I'd say everyone with adrenal fatigue has is you just feel tired a lot and you have a really hard time getting up in the morning. First thing in the morning, your body secretes like a jolt of cortisol. I don't know if you've ever felt it when you're laying in bed, almost like a shock. It's not always that extreme, but your body should be capable of waking up and feeling good. So when you have adrenal fatigue, that becomes really hard because you've really burnt out a lot of that cortisol just by basically overusing it, stressing out probably for years. So you're going to feel really tired in the morning. Minor stressors can feel almost insurmountable because your body just does not have the reserves to give you that little extra push. So, this can be something where like, you're kind of going about your day and one little problem comes up and it just seems like an absolute mountain. You just don't have the energy to deal with one extra thing. So that would be a second symptom. A lot of people have hair loss. I have had that. Thankfully, it's getting a lot better, and I would like to talk about that more. So you can have hair loss, low sex drive, which that can be really hard when you're married and your spouse doesn't feel like that. It can be really, really hard. So low sex drive, you can have a variety of reproductive issues. You could have problems with your monthly cycle. And you can also have weight gain that can be really persistent and really hard to deal with. So it could also be weight gain or wasting. So, kind of, either your body is just kind of accumulating water weight, or it could actually go the other way where you're thin and kind of like what we would call maybe skinny fat. That's kind of a mean phrase, but it can be accurate. You just don't have a lot of muscle tone. It's really hard to build muscle. You feel cold all the time. And your body just doesn't feel good. If you've ever been underweight before, which I personally am not currently, but I have been underweight in the past, it feels really bad. It's a very scary feeling. Just a lack of protection, a lack of safety. So that's also something I just like to mention. Sometimes it can be really easy to look at women with a thin body type and feel envious of that. I know I have, being a woman who was previously size medium for most of my life. Now I'm a size large to extra large, dealing with adrenal fatigue, weight gain. The grass is not necessarily greener, and never make rude comments to thin women because you just don't know what they might be dealing with too. Adrenal fatigue is definitely one of those health conditions that can fly under the radar. Like, you can show up, perform, still live a pretty fulfilling life in a lot of ways, but there's always this inner tension of like knowing you only have this much energy for the day. And if anything extra comes up, you're going to go over what you have available. And it can be just lead to another level of mental stress where you're constantly negotiating with yourself. And it's just a lot of self-negotiation as you kind of try to make it through your day. Each day feels kind of like a little minefield of like, am I going to be able to make it or not? So that's a little bit in a nutshell of what adrenal fatigue is. It's really a hormone imbalance caused by stress. A hormone imbalance caused by stress. And it's something I'm dealing with right now. So anyways, thanks a lot for listening. And see you in the next video. Bye.